well, Dan.
Kimberly Green will start us off playing her 40th Test cap for the Diamonds, as to this young lady here, Natalie Medhurst. So, a bit of a milestone for the two young Diamonds players. Catherine Cox with the ball here, lining up in Test number 94. Starts the Diamonds in beautiful fashion. Umpires, of course, are Mandy Nottingham on the far side and Faye Micklejohn on the bottom half of the screen. So England looking to respond here. As Sue mentioned moments ago, the first 15 minutes absolutely crucial for the visitors.
Well, you can just see here a little bit of patience shown by England. Of course, in the early start of Test 1, already they would have thrown 2 or 3 balls away. So that's a nice start for England. A greatly placed ball there into Rosie Ellison from Tamsin Greenway.
A lot of confidence from Greenway to find the spearhead, who converts. They were down 3-0 in the first Test, so they've already betted that in the opening couple of minutes. Medhurst, full stretch. Finds Cox on the baseline. Almost from Beckford Chambers.
One of England's best was Beckford Chambers in Test 1 and started at goal defence. Finds herself back at goalkeeper. An early shake there from Catherine Cox. We certainly didn't see any of that from her opening game.
As England spray it across the sideline, Catherine Cox was 91% in that opening Test. Erin Bell, here's Green, edge of the circle. Some close work from Beckford Chambers. Cox to the post, brings out again, and Beckford Chambers the rebound. So England a chance here. Long ball to Harton. Greenway drives to the pocket. Here's Ellison. Up over Geitz. It's going to be a big shot. 3-second call.
Well, no doubt Laura Geitz has been doing a little bit of homework in between tests, because Rosie Ellison would have been a very new player for Laura to play on, and I have no doubt that they've spent some time trying to work out the best way to counteract her sheer accuracy from Test 1. So well done to Laura Geitz on that occasion.
22 from 25 at 88% was Ellison on debut. Pretty congested in this pocket. And a turnover here, England to take the throw-in. So ample opportunities to get a mini break on the Diamonds. Long ball. Very undisciplined play there from Sasha Corbin.
Well, the key here for England is to work very hard on their defensive pressure now.
Contact, centre.
Through the court, I think Gemma Fletcher and Ebony Beckford-Chambers have opened up very well in this defence circle. Certainly some unforced errors coming from the Aussies early on.
Great vision from Kim Green to find the skipper. Drains that one. 2-1, Diamonds lead. Great take too from Cox. Ellison, strong, under the post.
Well, great vision from Jo Harton. Eyes were straight up. Laura Geitz was out searching. Best way to expose her, ball straight to the post.
Advantage offside, advantage.
Kim Green, top of the circle, finds Medhurst on the baseline, pulls it in. But out of court called by Nottingham. Turnover chance here for England. Jade Clark flies through the middle. Fast break, they got the numbers. Harton from downtown. Good pressure from Amy Steele. Her first start in Diamonds colours, Amy Steele. Well, we're good enough to be joined courtside by the Diamonds coach, Lisa Alexander. Lisa, it's been a bit of a scrappy start for both teams. What's been the focus between Sunday and tonight's game?
Just making sure we convert on our turnovers, really, which is still a little bit not quite there, but we'll keep working at it.
Certainly the pace up, Lisa, already in this game. Great to see Amy Steele with her first start. Your thoughts behind that?
Oh, Amy's been training really well, and I thought her quarter when she came on was excellent. She's got lots of touches, she's determined, and I think she'll put in a good performance tonight, so we're looking forward to it.
And you spent some time having a look at Rosie Ellison, the goal shooter from England, because she was certainly a new face to their court and did a great job in Test 1.
Yes, she certainly holds very well. She's very strong, and we need to make sure our footwork is very sharp to work around it.
Lisa, just quickly while we've got you, obviously Nat Bomberto was sent home with the foot injury. Did it unsettle the camp at all? Has everyone kind of picked up where they've left off?
We've got a very deep squad and a great leadership group, and everyone realised that Nat was most upset at having to leave us, but this group really wants it. They want to lead, and they're determined to make sure that they play really well and help Nat to feel good about going home.
Good on you, Lisa. Thank you very much for your time. We'll catch up with you in the second half.
Terrific, thank you.
Lisa Alexander, the coach of the Diamonds. Here's their interim skipper, Catherine Cox. Tough break for Nat Bomberto. Sue should have loved to have been out here captaining her country on home soil, but that foot injury is worse than we suspected.
Yeah, it's not a great injury, Dan. You and I were discussing prior commentary. It's not a great injury to have, and I'm sure Nat would have done everything possible to convince the Aussie Diamond staff that she was good enough, but bigger things at stake and best that she's rested. And as you heard Lisa say, this Australian Diamond squad has great depth, and whilst I really believe Nat Bomberto is almost impossible to replace, I'm sure Maddie Browning, her inclusion in the side, will do a fantastic job.
So 5-3 the score here. Just under 9 minutes to play in the first term, so a better start from England.
Contact.
Clark pinged for the contact. Changes the angle, opens up to Medhurst. Beckford Chambers penalised.
Really impressed to see a lot more sort of one-on-one physical presence coming from the England defence in this early start. I thought they were very loose in Test 1, and they've really started to tighten up, and I really sense here that Kath Cox and Nat Medhurst are under a far greater deal of pressure than they were when these two teams last met.
Another opportunity here for the Diamonds. That ball just going through the hands of Sasha Corbin. They drive it forward now. Beautiful pass to find Val. Cox for goal number 7 for her side.
Well, she shot 6 of those, Dan. Nat Medhurst 1 from 1. So leading the way is Catherine Cox, that lady there on screen. Great timing on her move.
Shots off, but the rebound's good.
Gee, that was a really strong rebound. To come over the top of someone like Ebony Beckford Chambers is a very strong athlete. So very well done by Catherine Cox there.
Ball against Laura Geitz, Rosie Allison to take the shot. England really need this. Backs herself. Why not? Terrific shot. You notice the Australian Diamonds playing with black armbands tonight, of course, just paying their respects to one of the family members of the Diamonds girls that passed away recently. So the Diamonds showing their respects as Natalie Medhurst scores number 9 for Australia. Here's Harton.
Contact, goal defence.
Dan, Tamsin Greenway doing an absolute load of work on that centre pass line. She really is the dominant receiver on the centre pass, and you can see the Diamonds are well aware of that now, and they're trying to put as much pressure. So keep your eye on that on the centre pass, how much work Tamsin's doing just to get herself out on that for that ball.
Oh, great move, Nat Medhurst. The left, the right. Beautiful dodge along the baseline. Nat Medhurst had 30 centre pass receives in the first test. Tamsin Greenway, highest scorer for the game with 32. So both very active across that transverse line. Cox, another miss for her. Chambers gives her team an opportunity.
Well, Ebony Beckford Chambers trying all sorts of defensive pressures here, and I think she's making Catherine Cox have a little bit of a think about her shot. So well done.
Poor disposal from Harton. Put Allison under far too much pressure. Leighton on the drive through court. Steele.
Oh, great ball.
Just hits the nail on the head, as to the shot.
Fantastic ball there. That passage of play just in general coming, the transition from that ball there, Laura Geitz taking. True Australian Diamond style, Dan. Down court, looking down, opening up the shoulder pass, releasing and placing the ball out in front. well executed.
So Jay Clark, the captain for England, their most capped player, calls the timeout. And it's a timely timeout for England because they're down by 7, and as we mentioned earlier, this first quarter is really going to set up how they perform, well, their chances for this game, should I say.
Well, let's just go back through the test, Dan, because we continue to mention the poor start that England have had, but they were exceptionally competitive in the second half. If we look at the score lines from Test 1 against Australia, the second half, 29 the Diamonds, 28 England. So if we're only playing 30 minutes of netball, this side can be very competitive. The problem is they get blown out of the ballpark early, and we're now looking at a score line that's indicative of that 11-4.
Anna Mays there, the English coach, laying down the law. Certainly wouldn't be happy with the amount of goals they've put on the board early. 11-4 the Diamonds lead. Lisa Alexander talking to Kim Green.
And just have a look at the turnovers already in this quarter. Australia with only 2, the England side already 6 turnovers. So, again, critical mistakes being made early on.
Back into the action now. England in possession. Here's Corbin. Up to Allison.
Contact goal defence.
Steele comes in late from behind.
Very important to convert this one for England.
Obstruction, both players out.
Straight away stepping back from the arms of Geitz. Shooting practice for Allison there. Looking for a turnover here, England.
Okay, goal defence, goal first.
So, again, just unnecessary body work there on that Medhurst by Gemma Fletcher.
Cox is off again. Radar not quite there in the opening stages for Catherine Cox. 8 from 13. Leighton.
Great outside arm, followed through, and Aussie Diamonds all over her for the backup. So those are the little 1%ers we talk about, Dan. Absolute criticals.
That's a sweet shot from Nat Medhurst to reward Leighton. Here's the replay.
Look at this, and all the Diamonds first at the ball.
Such tenacity. And another chance here for another English turnover. We're talking before, Sue, about Shani Leighton off camera, how she's a very unconventional wing defence, but in many ways, because she's so unconventional, she's so effective there.
Well, she's tall, she's got long arms. Let's not forget she spent a full season playing wing defence at the Adelaide Thunderbirds and came out with the Rookie of the Year award. She had a fantastic season, so she's no stranger to the position. As we see the Diamonds setting up some defensive pressure here. A zone through the middle of the court. England under all sorts of pressure.
Just watch the Diamonds stop the running players.
You see there Tamsin Greenway really wanting to generate some momentum, but the critical thing is just possession of the ball. Probably very lucky to come away with that.
Vantage obstruction, contact.
Good effort from Amy Steele.
Goal defence.
So 3.5 minutes to play in this first quarter.
Laura Geitz in a 2-on-1 situation here. She'll protect the post.
Steele, the deflection on the run by. And through court come the Diamonds. Here's Medhurst. Just patiently plays it around.
Oh, look at that.
That's skill.
Great fake to the corner. Opened up the defenders and found her shooting partner, Catherine Cox, under the post.
She converts this time. 9 from 15 for Catherine Cox. Good pressure on the centre pass from England this time around. Australia breakthrough now. Medhurst on the base.
Trademark pass from Cox.
And the offensive rebounds.
Well, you know what? In all honesty, if England didn't sit down and watch the replay and look at the stats, they were absolutely crucified in the rebounding department, and they are, again, being crucified. Now, that was an England rebound, no doubt. This, I mean, again, why is the scoreline 14-5? Simply those sorts of things have to be fixed.
14-6. Sorry, 14-2 was the rebound stat in that first test. Tells the tale. Medhurst the front cut, beats Fletcher. Another one. Here's a rebound for England.
And now the key, Dan, is let's convert. So patience required from the England side in this transitional period.
There we go again.
Right on cue.
Broken records. So let's just watch the Australians come through court here. Harton gets it back. Quick interchange.
Vantage obstruction.
Ellison.
Contact.
The shot bucket's back at her. Minute and a half.
Green just generating the momentum there through court as a centre player. Perfect link.
Just winding up the arm, Medhurst. Cox. Good shot this time.
Well, the Diamonds might have started a little scrappy with some of their passes down into that circle early on. The precision of pass coming from the attacking end of the Australian Diamonds at the moment is unbelievable.
Laura Geitz creates another turnover. Beautiful intercept from her down the other end. Cox swings it to Green.
Screen set up.
Beautiful ball. So under a minute now, 16-6. It's a 10-goal lead again. It was 10 in the first test. Beautiful double play between the feeders.
Well, Kim Green just finding such great space at the top of the circle. I'm really impressed with her opening quarter. I thought she was solid down in test one, and obviously Lisa Alexander chose to rotate players, but
Vantage contact. Goal defense.
really liking what I'm seeing from Kim Green in the absence of Natalie Von Berto.
Greenway, Corbin, Geitz comes around the front of Ellison, denies the opportunity. Here's Harton. 2 from 4 for this quarter, 3 from 5. Still at 10.
Vantage break.
And just like it was in the first test on Sunday, a 10-goal margin in favour of the Australian netball Diamond.
England sort of assuming the same errors as they did in test one, so we'll see what they can do in this second quarter.
So Kimberly Green will start possession off for England. Lindsay Keeble is on at goalkeeper for England. So Gemma Fletcher goes to the bench. Ebony Beckford-Chambers moves out to goal defence. Sue, what do you make of that defensive change?
Well, I think they had to do something, Dan, no different to the situation they were in test one where Boise went to the bench. Lindsay Keeble's just flown in to replace Stacey Francis, who only played the New Zealand leg of the series. Plays for the Mavericks in the Super League, who were the premiers this year over in England. And had the pleasure of actually coaching a little bit with Lindsay when I was over in Wales for 6 months. So, very young player coming through, but a little bit of height and something else for Catherine Cox to think about.
Rachel Dunn is the goal shooter on. So here are the changes in the bottom part of your screen. Rachel Dunn is into goal shooter for England. Greenway has gone to goal attack. Corbin into wing attack, and Canada Parr is come on to centre. So a lot of changes to that attacking lineup for England. We'll see if it makes any difference into the score. They've got a turnover chance here as they fly through court.
Well, that's a massive number of changes. I'm not sure the last time we would have seen Tamsin Greenway playing goal attack for England. And to the best of my knowledge, Dan, young Sophia Kandapa, this is her first test for England. So
matching up against Kimberly Green on test match number 40. So let's see what the young rookie's made of. Rachel Dunn. She's, of course, pulled off the court at quarter time in the first test. On Sunday, she was 5 from 6. Just couldn't find her enough, and they don't on that occasion either. And she tails her feeders just where she wants it.
is that what she was saying?
Who knows?
Great effort for Green to try and keep that ball in. Footwork there being called.
Jade Clark.
Midfoot, yep. Well, again, some early jitters from the Aussie Diamonds in their feed to the circle.
Is that press through the middle again?
Well, great ball from
Corbin.
Keeble, yeah.
Corbin on the fly. Finds Greenway. Up over her old Firebirds teammate Laura Geitz.
Well, that's a solid start for Tamsin Greenway. I did see her warming up at the post prior to the game. I wondered. So she'll show good leadership in there, but that's the sort of thing that can't happen. And in actual fact, part of Tamsin's issues have been at wing attack. The want to feed that ball long, you know, instead of patiently working it to the circle edge and finding an easier pass. So needs to really tighten up on that.
Cox battles with Keeble. Regains her composure. Slots a goal.
11 from 17 for Catherine Cox. And 8 from 10 for Natalie Medhurst.
Here's Medhurst working at the top of the circle. Opens to Cox. Finding the radar now is the skipper. Test cap number 94. She equals the record of Catherine Harvey-Williams as the 4th most capped player in Australian netball history. So she is creeping up the ladder there, Catherine Cox. Is Anna Mays watching on?
There's a better centre pass play by England. Probably not enough of those coming for them off the centre pass, the direct conversion of their goal.
Beckford-Chambers gets a hand on that one. Let's see if England can transition. Clark. What's got to come through her? Greenway. Kandapar. Geitz all overdone, and the call goes her way too. It's again Rachel Dunn.
Rachel Dunn's facial expressions there, she was gobsmacked that she's out of play.
She's still
gobsmacked.
gobsmacked.
She's still shaking her head at the other end of the court. She's looking at the bench, she's got her hands on her hips. I know we can't see this on screen, but if you could only see it.
Bell just changes the angle. Medhurst rolling that circle.
Obstruction, goal defence.
Big shot.
Lovely high shot from Natalie Medhurst.
There's Rachel Dunn. Ready to get into action again. Steele, almost. Corbin always wants to get that double play, charging through court. Geitz.
Yeah, and then just a poor decision on that release. Laura Geitz was all over Rachel Dunn there. So Sasha Corbin needing to learn to go through the gears. You can't be in 5th gear for the entire time.
Well, we're now joined courtside by the coach of England, Anna Mays, and a wholesale changes for your team in this second quarter.
Get back on.
Sorry, she just joined us now. Anna Mays, thanks for joining us. You've made wholesale changes for your side for the second quarter.
And again.
Yeah, definitely. I think, unfortunately, we were wasteful with the amount of sheer turnover we got, particularly in the first 5 minutes. So just making a few changes, see what we can do in terms of taking possession to goal.
Some time since we've seen Tamsin Greenway at goal attack.
Yeah, it has been. It's been something we know we've been looking at in terms of coverage, just to offer, obviously, that experience in that circle. And she is a playmaker at the end of the day.
And have you had much chat about your starts? I imagine you would have. It's not been the greatest thing that England's put together. You certainly come home like a steam train, but the starts just haven't been... I guess they put you under enormous pressure as the game goes on.
Yeah, different. I've been extremely disappointed with all our starts in all our test matches, and it's not like we've stayed with the same starting lineup. So we've given different people opportunity to try and really assert themselves in the game, and it is something we've continuously talked about in training. So I am very disappointed. You know, the Diamonds, for me, the last match, they won in that first quarter, and that's what killed us.
So is there anything specific that you or the players have pinpointed?
Well, again, it's just the wastefulness with the sheer turnover that we're getting. We're not taking to goal, whereas the Diamonds, for me, at the end of the day, when they get turnover, 9 out of 10 times, they're actually taking it to a shot or a goal. So that's where we need to make sure we're doing more of what they've done.
Thank you for your insights, Anna. Enjoyed talking to you. We'll catch up with you in the 4th quarter. Anna Mays there, the coach of England.
I have to say, very impressed with the way Anna Mays has handled herself so far through this series. We mentioned in Test 1 that she sat as the assistant coach to Sue Hawkins and was the World Youth coach for England. Really like what she says, Dan.
And no doubt she would have to be extremely frustrated with the starts that her team has had, not only against Australia, they suffered those same problems against New Zealand last week. Just needs to find the answer, don't they?
Well, it's player accountability, player responsibility, isn't it? Anna Mays can say all she wants, she can continue to change the lines, but if you get an opportunity to play at international level, you want to make every moment count, and I just think that we're seeing the same players making similar errors test after test. So you can imagine great frustration for her as a coach, and I have no doubt for England as a team.
Amy Steele called for the contact out to 24-11 here. Halfway through the second quarter. Geitz and Kim Green work together to create that one. Leighton all alone. Bell links up. Cox on the drive. Medhurst just changes direction into the backspace.
What a great transition from the Diamonds. Timing just perfect down court. Plenty of options on offer. And the understanding between Natalie Medhurst and Cox continues to grow, doesn't it? We were so impressed with it in Test 1, and to be honest with you, whilst they aren't under the sort of pressure I think they'll get from the Silver Ferns, they really are impressive.
Another centre pass received for Medhurst. Doing a wealth of work. Clark gets her hand to it. Ineffective. She feeds Cox. 17 from 25 is the Diamond skipper. Is Corbin. Up over the top to Dunn. Vision's good. Shot's not. Geitz all over it.
Again, Rachel Dunn telling the umpire that she couldn't see the shot. I think Rachel Dunn needs to concentrate a little bit more on putting the ball through the ring than complaining to the side of the court, Dan.
Absolutely. Diamonds in transition again.
Advantage contact. Obstruction goal defence.
Obstruction called against Beckford Chambers. Cox steps it in for an easy one. Slowly starting to put the foot down the Diamonds. That's a good passage. Cox just owning that circle, drives to the post.
Well, it's becoming all too easy for the Australian attack end. And the defence end here for the Diamonds doing as good a job. Amy Steele has had her hand on so many balls. What a great start for her. She'll be thrilled so far with her 30 minutes of play.
Advantage contact goalkeeper.
Medhurst over Keeble. Here's the work from Amy Steele and Geitz. Just a poor disposal again from the English attackers.
Contact goalkeeper.
Good strong hold at the front of Lindsay Keeble there by Catherine Cox. She's showing she can do all things. She's a moving shooter, she's a holding shooter, she's a rebounding shooter.
Wicked pass.
And can shoot.
Got it all. Packed crowd here at the AS Arena. Sold out to see the Diamonds in action. They're pretty happy with what they're seeing at the moment.
Well, happy for the Diamonds, and really at the moment somewhat of a sad state of affairs for England, because again the errors, Dan, are as repetitive. It's almost becoming boring commentating the mistakes because they are simply not learning. I would not want to be an England player in the change room at half-time.
It's that whole quote Einstein once said, Sue, you're insane when you keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, and unfortunately it's happening all too common for this English side.
Dan.
Didn't like
You've
that
been
one,
reading
Sue?
Einstein books, have you?
It's one of my favourite quotes, Sue. I believe you quoted, I can't remember, Huckleberry Finn was it once, maybe during the Names of Champs game? Probably. Great shot, Nat Medhurst.
Well, watch this. Nat Medhurst will get this centre pass as easily as anything. It's the same structure and setup every time for the Diamonds. England are making no effort to change the behaviour of the Diamonds off the centre pass. You would think with Nat Medhurst taking almost 80% of the centre passes that they consider changing things up, but still that has yet to happen.
Advantage obstruction when defence.
Cox just opens on the baseline. Goal number 32, 32 plays 11. Just under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. It was 10 goals at quarter time. England just starved of possession. Her opportunity, should I say, Leighton, full stretch, runs her feet through the ball.
Shani Leighton had covered that move 3 moves beforehand. She was riding that centre there for that entire time, so fantastic effort to come up with the turnover.
Advantage Advantage obstruction centre.
See here if the Diamonds can reward the efforts of their wing defence.
Look at the movement in the circle. Cox opening the baseline, splitting the defenders, Medhurst up the middle.
Can't convert on that occasion. Medhurst, 11 from 16. Kandapar.
Yeah, better play from England.
Greenway not wanting to shoot. She's 1 from 1. Dunn's at 3 from 6. This should be a goal here from Rachel Dunn. It's England's 5th goal in this second quarter.
Well, with only a minute 30 to go in this quarter, Dan, what will be interesting going into this second half is how the Diamonds go about their business and how England go about their business, because we're almost in a similar situation as we were in Test 1. The scoreline a little bit better favouring the Diamonds. However, England turned on a sensational second half. The Diamonds, not so great. So should be an interesting second half to see if either team or England can continue, and if Australia are able to rectify, I guess, a fairly poor second half for their standards from Test 1.
We're also going to catch up with injured Australian Diamond Monia Gerard at the start of the third quarter, so stick around for that. We'll get all her insights into tonight's second test and also catch up with how she's going with her current injury. 40 seconds on the clock here. Beautiful ball that time, found Dunn in good position.
Dunn just doing a little bit more work there to open up the space, so certainly helping her centre court feeders in finding the pass. Possibly a last chance here, Dan, for England to score. Diamonds immediately on with the mid-court press, and England looking in all sorts of trouble.
Corbin gets them out of trouble. Greenway finds Dunn for a deficit of 19. Centre pass was taken up to Dunn. Geitz the spoil. A timely spoil too from Laura Geitz. And that is half-time here in the second test.
Time will tell, Dan. Here we go.
So Kimberly Green will get things underway, and she finds new teammate Chelsea Pittman on at wing attack. Erin Bell swings over to goal attack. Here she's in the circle with possession. Cox. Again, so good on that offensive rebound.
Yeah, and I think we heard her mention earlier that that is something that she's really been working on. Not that she wants to be inaccurate, but she wants to make sure that she's actually getting her opportunity again if she does miss.
Serena Guthrie, the new centre on for England.
Advantage obstruction.
And sticking with the front three. Greenway, Corbin, Geitz. It's charging from the back. Corbin, top of the circle, prime feeding position. A little tussle there between Green and Guthrie.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the passes from England a little bit too lofty, allowing Australia the chance to actually get a hand to the ball.
Done. To start England off well in the second half. Not to be. Geitz another board.
Look how quick that transition is. No pressure at all at the moment from England. Stunted a little bit here.
Cox wants to fire it off, finds Erin Bell. Her first shot of the match. Not bad. So 36 to 15. Good work from Jade Clark. Pittman, Bell. Drains it.
Well, Erin Bell, welcome, showing how versatile she can be, swinging across from wing attack into goal attack. As you said, what a great thing to have a player of that calibre that can swing across the line, Dan.
Now the welcome you might have heard is, of course, Monia Gerard, injured Australian defender. Mon, thanks for joining us. First, how have you seen the opening half from your team, the Diamonds?
Yeah, compared to the first test, I think it's a lot more fluent. I think the connection from the mid-court to our shooters has definitely clicked a little bit more this time. But I guess I'm just going to hope and wait and see how this defence end goes, because I think there's obviously we've got a young side down that end, so it's good to see how Beck Woolley pulls in.
much talk, Monia, after game one regarding the Diamonds' second half. The score for the second half v England was 29-28, so certainly England came out of the blocks far better. What were the focal points going into this second half for your side?
Obviously, our talk was pretty quiet last time against England, so you know that was the biggest aim for us for this second test. So I'm expecting a lot more talk now. We've got some more experienced girls out there playing, so hoping that some of the young kids can come out of their shell a bit more. But in saying that, I just hope it's a little bit more connection and fluent down the court from defence and a shoot.
Monty, for you, you're obviously ruled out of the series against England, hoping to come back for the games against the Silver Ferns. Where are you at with your injury, and what can you tell us about the calf strain?
Yeah, well, I strained my soleus in my right leg, so in my calf, and yeah, the progress at the moment has been good. The physios at the moment have pushed me to the limit to where I need to be at, so all looking good for the New Zealand test, and yeah, a little bit scary that I haven't really played any much tests under my belt so far, but I'm hoping experience to help me along that way.
How do you cope sitting in the grandstand, Monia?
Yeah, a little bit itchy. I'm a terrible spectator. I'm hopeless. Yeah, I tend to be a bit too quiet and bite my fingers a bit, but yeah, but I'm hoping these girls have a good experience out here and I guess learn a few things.
We had a chat with Natalie Von Berto in Test 1, and we spoke about you know, the new coach, Lisa Alexander, coming in and what were the subtle changes being made from your perspective? Tell us a little bit about the new staff and I guess the feel amongst the team.
Yeah, I guess it's lined it up a bit, you know. Norma's pretty, I wouldn't say strict, but, you know, she obviously expected
Pretty
quality.
intense, isn't she?
Yeah, quality all the time, and like you said, pretty intense majority of the times. And yeah, Lisa's a bit quirky. You know, she brings a different light to it, and she's definitely one of those. I guess she's what do you call it? In defence, she's definitely one of those. You know, the best way to attack is the best way to defend is to attack. So she's definitely brought that along to this group, and that's just not for the defenders, it's for the shooters too.
That would suit you down to a T.
Oh, gold. I love it when my shooters know how to defend.
Yeah.
Mon, just one final question before we let you go. Obviously, the World Championships in July was an awesome experience for all you guys. What was it like for you out there in that final game playing against Terrapara George and the way that it all unfolded? What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, I'm pretty lame when it comes to experiences like that because I'm sort of like a little bit modest, a bit humble, keep it to myself, whatever's, you know, that's what happens. But Singapore was wicked. I think the crowd was unbelievable, and the Aussies that came along to watch us kind of just, I don't know, brought us to life. Like, you know, winning that in front of them, majority looks like Aussies anyways, felt like it was home. Yeah, it was pretty unreal.
How'd your credit card go on the night out?
Oh, yeah. I shouted you a few, I think. I think I shouted the Irish team as well.
Trouble.
So, you know, I helped the Irish and I helped the Samoan that night.
Good on you, Monia. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck with the recovery, and we look forward to seeing you out on court very, very soon.
So do I. Thank you.
Monia Gerard there, injured Australian defender, but don't worry, she'll be back. Great to have her insights and catch up with her in this third quarter. The Diamonds are just putting the foot down as this game continues to unfold. Catherine Cox scores Australia's 40th goal, 22 goals is the lead.
Well, Jade Clark took an absolute hurler of an intercept whilst we were having a chat with Monia Gerard, and probably starting to show one of the reasons why she is the captain for England at the moment. I thought she was one of their better players in the second half when England started to show some real presence in their first test, and again, trying to generate some positivity amongst her fellow teammates.
Here's Beck Bully, new onto the court in this second half. Green opens to Bell. Good body work from Erin Bell. Nice easy goal from her. Leighton working hard on the centre pass. Cox fires that bullet. Bell's the victim.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Erin Bell, long-range shot, rings out. Let's go courtside again with the Australian Diamonds coach, Lisa Alexander. Lisa, a few changes that you've made for this second half.
Yes, we've decided to introduce Erin into goal attack. This is her first run there, and we need to make sure she has a touch out there with Kath. And also Chelsea Pittman, she's been training really well, and we want to see her out there too. And Beck Bully, again, another great, hard-working defender, who I just watching her then, doing a great job there, and she's really driving well in attack. That's actually assisting us a lot more.
Lisa, how much time was spent at the half-time break talking about the importance of carrying on what you've done in the first half, given probably a little bit of a drop-off in Test 1?
Yeah, look, we've actually addressed that during the week, Sue. We definitely spoke about that. It's more about team behaviours, and at half-time we really just talked about the detail that needs to happen. That is what you need to do in terms of your defence, move the feet, and keep attacking hard. So we're working on Chelsea doing some nice long drives down to that circle.
Happy with what you're seeing at the moment?
Relatively happy, a little bit scrappy again. So we just got to make sure that when we come out, that we come straight out of the blocks and everyone's sure and knows where to place the ball.
Good on you, Lisa. Thank you for joining us, and good luck for the rest of the game.
Thank you very much.
Lisa Alexander there, coach of the Australian Diamonds. Great to chat to the coaches, should I say, throughout this series.
It's not an easy thing to do. You can see Lisa there as she was talking about Rebecca Bully. And at that particular stage, Bully was also rebounding the ball. So, yeah, really, it's a hard job, and it's great to get those insights. So we are very lucky there.
Cox looking to wind up again. Gemma Fletcher puts the spoil on. Good deflection, tips it out of court. 24-goal ball game.
Well, you can just see Cox there, just so strong holding front position. And the footwork needed far greater there from Fletcher to get around the front of Cox, instead causing another penalty. Well, just no pressure across that line on the centre pass.
Turnover opportunity here for England. Guthrie, Dunn takes it well. Geitz is on the lookout.
And I'm pretty sure Rachel Dunn yelled out no just as that ball came to her. So well done for her to keep that ball in play.
Guthrie again, injecting some pace. That's a better play off the centre pass. Converted from a goal.
Vantage break, we attack.
Bully. Here's Bell. Jade Clark puts the block on Pittman. It's very unassuming the way she plays the game, Jade Clark. Quite often you don't notice her, but she's just hassling and hassling.
An absolute workhorse she is on the court, and will be playing with the Mystics in the ANZ Championships next year, and I think that is one very healthy pickup for them. So well done to the Mystics, and all the best to Jade Clark.
Beck Bully, line up for the Thunderbirds next year. Catherine Cox here. Up over a new West Coast Fever teammate. So a few of these English girls, as we mentioned on Sunday, lining up in the ANZ Champs. There's the defensive work from the Diamonds. There's Beckford Chambers. Easy pickings for her. They fly through court here. Good timing on the roll-off.
Contact.
Well, again, you can just see how England start to gain a little bit of confidence. That's probably 3 or 4 passages of play that they've strung together. And again, the Diamonds caught a little bit flat-footed. So still some work for the Diamonds to do in putting together their true blue 60 minutes of netball.
Tamsin Greenway not prepared to shoot the ball. Still only scored 2 for the game. Done. That's way off. Pittman opens it up on the far side of the court. Cox out the top.
Oh, well, all the best intentions and completely overcooked to the right.
Just gotta love it when she winds up that arm.
But there is some
So
serious strength in Cox's arm there.
Presses on again in the middle. Let's see if the Diamonds can pick it off. Again,
Yeah.
Corbin opens it up.
Just got caught following the ball a little bit too much there, and opened up the side lane for England. So they've exposed the Diamonds very well on that passage.
And they find the goal too through Rachel Dunn.
Well, Geitz is having an impressive game. She's had 4 deflections, Dan, 6 rebounds, 2 intercepts. Quite impressive stuff from her. Again, showing that she has had probably the best netball year of her career in 2011.
Laura Geitz in the first test, of course, only played the first 3 quarters, but 4 rebounds, 2 intercepts, 4 deflections, so she always features pretty prominently on the stats board.
Well, some changes looking like they're being made, Dan, as we watch the injury time in England. Anna May's using the opportunity, and it's probably to be expected with only 3 minutes left. I don't know how much it'll gain, but Greenway, as you can see there, with the wing attack bib on her back, and I'm pretty sure we saw Jo Harton with the goal attack bib on, and yep, just warming up on the side of court.
So the Diamonds looking to secure this series. Of course, the 3rd test is in Sydney on Sunday, and then the Diamonds will have a week off before they tackle the Silver Ferns in a big rematch of that World Championship final. So lots of netball still to come on Network 10 in the Holden Netball Test Series. Lisa Alexander would like to keep seeing the Diamonds push out this scoreline. They've got England well and truly covered tonight, but they need to finish the job off. There's Jo Harton and Tamsin Greenway doing all they can for England. So the final 3 minutes of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah. I was going to say, great pass. Well, the circle well opened up. Just a little bit of confusion between Pittman and Green around the circle. The space not overly well used, but they certainly got themselves out of it.
Erin Bell doing some terrific work in that goal circle.
Well done, Bell. Great position, ball side.
Harton. It's her 3rd goal for the match, Jo Harton. Of course, she started the game, taken off at quarter time. It's her 4th, in fact. Catherine Cox for goal number 31 here.
Yeah, and that goal number 31 comes on the end of it. Exceptionally well set play by the Diamonds off the centre pass. Quick 1-2 to the top of the circle and finish with a nice pass into Cox.
Good work from Beck Bully, arms over defence. As 2 from Jo Harton.
A little bit of ping pong.
Guthrie on the drive. Swings it to Greenway, does Harton.
Yeah, Rachel Dunn there being called for contact, and you can see she's frustrated. The leg goes across. She should be down here trying to defend the ball as opposed to worrying about what's going on. But I just don't think Dunn's doing near enough work. She's just waiting for the ball to come down. So I'd love to see her, if she does get an opportunity to play out the 4th quarter, just increase her workload to open up the ball.
Kimberly Green just made Erin Bell duck for her life as she fired that ball to Cox on the baseline. Here's Green again. Pittman. Lots of space open in this front line.
Oh. Not the prettiest sight there by Catherine Cox, but she gets herself out of it.
So just over a minute to play in the 3rd quarter. Diamonds well and truly in control. 6 from 7 for Erin Bell since her introduction to goal attack.
Contact, Australia centre.
So under a minute. England would love another score on the board. Certainly need it. Stagnant circle. They go up to Dunn. And she converts. Long ball. Beckford-Chambers picks it up. Maybe time for one more goal. Bully puts a stop to that. Cox. She'll shoot from there. She'll nail it from there. Goal number 50. 26 goals, the Diamonds lead. No goal. It is still a 26-goal margin. England, of course, have made wholesale changes throughout the match, as too have the Australians. They've made a few more for this final quarter.
Yes, well, the Diamonds with the luxury of making changes, Dan, simply because of a scoreline that's so pleasing to them. England making changes to simply find a solution. So 2 very different scenarios coming from each coaching bench, but I just watched the England huddle as they came out into the court before this last quarter, and I think they think it's time to actually put something together. So let's see what they can do.
Let's hope, as Caitlin Bassett scores the first of the 4th. She is, of course, on to goal shooter, replacing captain Catherine Cox. Madison Brown into the centre position, replacing Kimberly Green. Rosie Allison is back on the goal shooter, replacing Rachel Dunn. So changes in both goal shooting positions. Harton, edge of the circle. Going for Laura Geitz.
Yeah, well read. It was a little bit dictated too easily there by Laura Geitz, trying to find the middle ball to Madison Brown. Jo Harton reading the intercept very well, closing down the middle corridor.
She's had a quiet game in goals, Jo Harton, but defensively she's been pretty good. Couple of deflections and tips and an intercept just there. That one-arm pass from Bell, quick onto Pittman into Bassett. 2 from 2, Caitlin Bassett.
Well, the one-arm shoulder pass has really been the shining light tonight, hasn't it, for the Australian Diamonds? The speed of the ball and the movement has just been exceptional. The feed to the circle off the one-arm pass has, for me, just been a standout.
Good feed from Madison Brown. Puts Bassett in good position. Guthrie. Oh, that's a good pass. Serena Guthrie threads it through the Australian defence.
Oh, we sat right behind that, and she certainly saw that very quickly and let it go.
Emma Dovey is the goal defence on for England as well. So she's getting her first taste of top-level netball against Australia.
And lost for all money there. Absolutely lost was young Emma Dovey there. So
full 360.
Yep. I think she actually had a run, if I'm correct, a couple of quarters against the Silver Ferns, a couple of intercepts to her name. So, but I believe it was on wing defence. So this will be her first run down at goal defence.
Only 20 years of age, so another one of the youngsters in this English group. Their average age is 22, but get this, the average age of the Diamonds is only 23, so...
Well, we blame Kath Cox for that,
we do. She brings it up quite a bit. Bassett.
That's actually a really interesting stat, isn't it? 22 the average age of England, 23 the average age of the Australian Diamonds. The scoreline difference currently being 30 goals. A one-year difference in average age.
Exactly right. It's very interesting indeed. And a lot of those English players played in the 2009 World Youth Cup, as did the likes of Caitlin Bassett and Shani Layton, Madison Brown. So we're seeing that transition into open ranks from both.
Amy Steele as well, Amy Steele from the Diamonds,
But the standard from the Diamonds is just leaps and bounds ahead at this stage. Geitz continues to put her hand in everything. It's 30 goals.
Well, again, probably a little bit overly fancy for my liking from Jo Harton. Almost, she comes across as though it's all just so easy, you know, very cruisy stuff, but often that's always at the end of an era off her pass too, so it doesn't always help Jo's image on the court at times.
Well, we're joined courtside again by Anna Mays, the coach of the English team. Anna, it's been a rough second half for your team. What was the message at three-quarter time?
Again, basics aren't good enough. We're being really wasteful. The ball, it's a really disappointing performance tonight, and I think service to the shooters hasn't been good enough. We haven't dealt with going around the 3-foot marker and just losing our defenders. All credit to Australia for a good defensive job tonight.
I don't want to go to the end of the game too quickly, Anna, but what kind of message do you as a coach deliver to your athletes after, say, a performance like tonight?
Well, for me, like I said, it was disappointing in terms of the basics, fundamentally not getting around a 3-foot marker and trying to get free. So that's where I'm really disappointed tonight. And I think actually we need to go back to the drawing board and look at some of our fundamental skills.
How much are you missing your senior players out on the court in times like these?
Obviously, you know, it'd be great to have the likes of Pamela and Jeeva and Sonia, but I think it's really important at this point in the 4-year cycle. We are getting people out there exposed to this level of international play and actually seeing where we're at in terms of a benchmark.
Anna, in terms of what you've seen from the new players that you've put out against Australia for the first time, what are some of the promising signs that you've seen?
I'm definitely pleased both in terms of Rosie Allison's performance in Test 1 and Test 2. It's great to see Emma Dovey out there tonight because she did it very, very well in the last quarter against New Zealand in our second test. So, again, seeing some promising things, but I also think it's exposing and demonstrating them where they're at in terms of their skill base.
Good on you, Anna. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Anna Mays there, the coach of the English national team. And I guess the message we get out of that, Sue, is they're using this opportunity to blood as many of their players that will potentially be in their team for the next Commonwealth Games, next World Championship when it comes around.
Well, it could be a very smart move by England, and as long as the reality is that they understand that's exactly what they're doing, then I guess you can start to deal with some of the scoreline differences. But you can just hear that creeping frustration in the voice about just the unnecessary errors that are happening. And you know, we hope that England can rectify even just a little bit of that before Test 3 in Sydney on Sunday.
Good ball from Chelsea Pittman up to Caitlin Bassett. Dribbles that one in. 7 from 8 for Caitlin Bassett. Greenway on the fly. Allison saves her. Up over Geitz.
Well, lovely time jump from Geitz there on Rosie Allison's shot.
Here's Beck Bully. Bell working up through the middle channel.
Well, that was a great quick release from Maddie Brown. I thought Maddie Brown struggled a little bit on Sunday to find that direct feed to Caitlin Bassett, and just that quick release I think is the way to go, and she certainly did that on that occasion.
Bassett, the full pivot before the goal. Back to a 30-goal margin. Halfway through this final quarter. Guthrie and Clark shut down Pittman on the first phase of the centre pass. Of course, Chelsea Pittman, Erin Bell, Shani Layton all in their first year with the Australian Diamonds. Good take from Bassett.
Must be such a hard play to defend Katie Bassett. You think you're having a crack at the ball, and her arms just seem to extend all the way up, and eventually she pulls that ball in. So just such a tough gig for Beckford Chambers and Dovey to have a crack at any of those high balls that are released into Bassett.
What's been the difference with Caitlin Bassett over the past year or so, Sue? She's had an incredible ANZ champ season with the Fever when I guess her team didn't go too well. Individually, she was the most prolific goal scorer at the end of the home and away season, and she just seems to have flourished in the company of the Australian Diamonds.
Yeah, look, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, I think it's been a change in mindset from Caitlin. I really think that she's decided, right, I can actually make a real go at this as an Australian Diamond, and I think she's just woken up and realised how good she can be in this team. I think number two, full credit to Catherine Cox, who in essence has acted as a mentor for her. I had quite some discussion with Catherine Cox over at the World Championships, and she spoke about how she spent a huge amount of time with Caitlin, just giving her ball after ball, pull it in. And when I said to Cox, why did you do that? She said, because the same thing was done to me when I was coming through the ranks. So I think that's just great leadership from someone like Catherine Cox. And to be honest with you, I really do believe Caitlin Bassett has full respect for Catherine. And from that perspective, Dan, I think that means great things for West Coast Fever when you think about the respect that comes between those two players and the fact that they could have the opportunity to spend quite a lot of court time together next year for the ANZ
Twin
Championship.
Towers.
Yeah, so
Under the tutelage of Plummer. Look out.
yeah. Bassett still with some work to do, and at this stage she still isn't the starting 7 for the Diamonds. You know, we're still seeing her come on and grow in the game. So her next goal will be to assume a starting 7 position, and that'll come in a couple of years' time, I have no doubt.
Harden consolidates a nice one from range for England. Rebecca Bully can't believe that one. Robbed, she thinks.
Shani Layton, 5 deflections to her name and 1 intercept. She's worked tirelessly there on the wing defence. The England mid-quarters have had no easy pathway to the top of the circle to feed their shooters. A lot of their wayward passes, Dan, coming from quite a far way off the circle. So credit to the Diamonds mid-court defence.
Back to 30 goals. Rosie Allison. Only her second test
Vantage court
for England. England actually had an interesting road trip down here, Sue. They caught the bus and the bus broke down.
Vantage contact and offside.
So, of course, both countries decided to take the bus from Newcastle to Canberra. Erin Bell and Serena Guthrie, a bit of a wrestle.
Offside.
So 3.5 to play here in the second test. Australians still just piling on the goals. Deflection there from Guthrie, but the first one to it is Pittman over the top to find Bassett. And goal number 12 for the 23-year-old.
Yeah, Dan, I think that the Diamonds have done a better job this time around in terms of the transition from, say, Cox, the moving shooter, to Bassett, the holding shooter. I think they struggled a little bit to change the rhythm and momentum, and I think certainly this lineup is feeding Bassett a lot better and a far greater benefit to the Diamonds in terms of the scoreline.
Good take from Allison, full stretch. Back up from Dovey. Here's Guthrie, and opens at the front to Allison. Goal number 34 for England. Jade Clark just checking the feet. Allison, long range, Geitz smothers it. 3-second call, great defence, Laura Geitz.
Really good defence from Laura Geitz, solid on the feet, just used the arm to really pressure over Rosie Allison. A lesson for young Rosie Allison there.
Bell up to Bassett. Tackles the armbar from Beckford Chambers. And again,
the armbar.
They're getting into it. And another.
Well, I think what's pleasing for the Diamonds tonight, and I'm sure Lisa Alexander will still want more, but she will be far more impressed with, I guess, the consistency of performance across the four quarters from the Diamonds. A bit of a slump through the third and a couple of little patches here in the fourth, but and maybe a little bit of a slow start, but in general, a far more credible performance across 60 minutes from the Australian Diamonds.
Just continued to pile on the goals and restrict England quarter by quarter. Still plenty of room for improvement in the Diamonds camp. Bassett falls out of court, gets her own rebound. Tail of the night.
Isn't it the tale
of the series so far?
Of the series this far, that's right. Ability to rebound.
And create opportunity. Diamonds just doing it time and again. Under a minute to play. Still at 30 goals. Here's the work from Caitlin Bassett. Pretty handy. 192 centimetres off her. So 13th test cap tonight, Caitlin Bassett. Erin Bell.
Penalty short or pass.
And only her 7th. Take this penalty pass or shot. She converts. Cheer goes up from the AIS crowd. They've enjoyed what they've seen tonight from their Diamonds. They've enjoyed what they've seen from Laura Geitz. 8 rebounds, 3 intercepts. She's been outstanding. And that is full time. The goal doesn't count there from Caitlin Bassett, but that is it. A 31-goal victory for the Diamonds. They wrap up the series against